Before I forget, I want to echo what George said. Thanks for being here. It's important. Let me get started by saying, first of all, I grew up in Pittsburgh and listened to one of the last panelists, and he grew up in Pittsburgh. We all didn't leave, but a lot of us did. But, when I was growing up in Pittsburgh, going to school, I really had two desires as a child. One was I really wanted to go and be involved in some area, in some city where national and international and vibrant, where things were being done on a national and international basis. The other part, being a little boy in me, geez, going to the circus and doing that would be pretty cool. By going to D.C., I was able to achieve both of them. So again, as I said, I've been in the energy business in my entire career, spanning about 46 years now, and it's nearly evenly split between the coal industry and petroleum refining industry. And there's relationships between the two, hydrocarbons, energy. The commonality is that, BTUs. The difference between these industries is the chemical bonds and the links between the hydrocarbon molecules. Now, before you all run to the door, I'm not going to give you an organic chemistry lecture. Okay? And you can't leave anyway because you'll disqualify yourself for the item. So you're stuck with me. Now, my remarks today will concern links. But they're the links between what I believe between energy and economic strength for the United States and the free world she leads, or at least we used to lead. The link between energy and technological advancement, and the link between energy and human development and prosperity. So, what's the landscape look like today? Well, we can all agree on a few basic precepts. As a people, we live longer and healthier lives in society as ever seen in history. Our quality of life is better than that. We have more access to that technology I mentioned, and we are basically richer than ever before. Now, not everybody's rich, but as a world, we are basically, as a nation, we are basically richer than ever before. So what's the common thread that has made all this possible? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I maintain that it's access to and use of reliable, abundant, efficient, and sustainable fuels. And folks, those are fossil fuels. Unfortunately, the battle that, in the public perception battle, the energy industry has done a terrible job, and we've done a damn awful job over the years. The public has been, and it has been, will be permanently tied to our industry. But we need their support, not just their consumption. And what's happened over the years is that, for 4 decades, we have basically, not played the game. We've really let others define who we are. We have to change that. We've been engaged in what I would consider asymmetric warfare. The industry has, we fought the battles on Capitol Hill and with EPA and those clowns. And that transcends administrations, by the way. On the short term, we fought the acid rain, the National Energy Air Quality Standards, cross-state pollution, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, but on the other hand, so have our opponents. They fought us on those battles day to day, too. But they did something a lot more. They won the public policy debate. And they did it on a cultural and an emotional level. We didn't play in that game. We have to play in that game. And we have to get pretty quickly get good at it. We've been, as industries, we've been questioned, regulated, investigated, analyzed, scrutinized, sued, generally bogged down by procedures and restrictions that continue to grow more complicated. And too doggone often, we are our own worst enemies. This is what we do. We negotiate with ourselves. Let me do a little demonstration. Here comes maybe it's carbon tax or cap and trade on climate change. We start out over here. Our opponents start out over here. So we all get together, ourselves, and we move here. And they stay here. And we move here. And they stay here. And we get together again and have another damn meeting. And we move here. And they say, look at those clouds. They start moving even further to the left. And we do that. I've worked in this industry for decades, and I've seen this struggle from inside out. We can't do that. I mean, a carbon tax. Whoa, gee, it's only going to be $20 a ton. Do you think a tax of $20 a ton today is going to stay at $20 a ton forever? Come on. Cap and trade. Well, let's take it to, to 10%. Right. They're going to keep moving, and we keep negotiating. What's the church once said, and a peaser is one who feeds a crocodile, hopefully going to leave him last. That's what we do. We're good at that. So why am I here? I'm not, I was talking about. What's been lacking, I believe, is a public education initiative that tells the real story about fossil fuels and how important they are to our future. And that's exactly what we're trying to do with our relatively new organization called, Fueling Us Forward. Well, we view energy not simply as a matter of dollars and cents, but as rather as a pro-human issue. It's an issue about enriching and saving lives. So, to many people, fossil fuels and oil and natural gas have been framed in the worst case scenario as evil. The best case scenario is it's a necessary evil. And maybe it's a bridge to nirvana. Well, nirvana ain't going to come. So we're not, fossil fuels aren't a life-threatening, rather an enhancing resource. So we're going to go on the offensive, and we're going to tell the real story. Now, again, we've either dug or drilled our way part of the time for the last 40 years, as it's told, because we haven't fought that cultural and emotional level. So we're going to make the case for fossil fuels. And this is not a campaign going around an election cycle or individual policy battles like some of those that I mentioned. And we're not a political or lobbying organization. And listen, I was running a major trade association in D.C. for 9 years. I was there for 15. I've been there, done that, like a T-shirt. People are going to do that. This organization has to be different. There are other groups out there that are still going to do that. That's very necessary. But if we're successful, and it's going to take some time, it's not going to turn the ship around. If we're successful, this is going to make those battles perhaps less daunting for everyone else. So what's our message again? We believe it's unique. We want to focus on some folks will focus on the tangible things like prices, job creation, tangible, other tangible things like that. And it's not fact, as we heard this morning with Morgan from Showtime was talking about, going on, and that's great. And they're going to fight that battle on those specific issues. We got to elevate this thing. We got to again take it to the emotional, the personal, and level. So we're going to present a pro-human case for fossil fuels. Energy is essential. And energy is the essential element of human potential and well-being. And that having that access to reliable, affordable, abundant, and sustainable energy is the nucleus of that element. So oil and natural gas, they're not the fuels of the past, or just maybe the present, or a necessary evil. They are the future. They are the future of this country. And again, shame on us. We've done a damn lousy job of telling people that. Yes, we're pro fossil fuel. We're not going to hide that. But we're not here to attack other energy sources. Energy use should be based upon sound economics, sound science, and focus on what's best for improving the people's lives. All energy sources have pros and cons. That's undeniable. But we need a sustainable energy to ensure the future of the country. Stated another way, and you've heard this throughout the conference, we're not opposed to biofuels. We're not opposed to wind energy. We're not opposed to solar. We're not opposed to magic beans. What we oppose is unwarranted government intervention. You heard this. You heard rapid trains. You heard this. All this morning you heard of crony capitalism. That's what we're opposed to. The government shouldn't be in the energy marketplace. They shouldn't be in any other marketplace for that matter, because look at it. You're going to hear this again from me. The government favoring one industry over another, by picking winners and losers. They've got a doggone good record of picking the loser. So, you know, for the preordained politically correct business, there are subsidies, mandates, insulation from risk through federal loans or guarantees on very favorable terms. They are more than happy to take the risks that the private sector won't. Because a poor commercial risk remains a poor commercial risk, whether it's private enterprise or government investors, you, me, using our tax dollars to take it. It's frustrating, it's wrong, and it makes no sense. You know, I had several of the panelists yesterday at Katie's panel on Obamacare, and then talking about, you know, the crony capitalism. You had Glenn Beck yesterday talking about, you know, a lot of things. I thought it was a tremendous talk. He talked about principles. He talked about having principles. You don't have principles, you don't have anything. And so, I'm an equal opportunity critic. Again, I'm just as critical of my own industry as I am of the environmental left. So let me give you an example of why I'm so angry at some of the folks. There was last year, toward the end of the session, we had a big debate about whether to export oil or not to export oil. Well, you know, a decade ago, that would have been unheard of. Gee, what happened in a decade? We went from an energy-poor country to an energy-rich country. And you know, I mean, when you look at our combined oil and gas production, we outdo Saudi Arabia and we outdo Russia. Again, combined. We have the ability to make OPEC and OPEC. So, what happened last year? People want oil, we have oil, and we can export it fine. It's a free market approach. Vote on it. Use Congress. So what did our conservative guys do? They couldn't get it through. All right, bring it up again next time. Because if you look at, you know, at prices where they were going to export a damn thing anyway. What did they do? They caved. They said, we'll give us oil exports and we'll give you extenders for wind and solar and all the other stuff on the tax extenders. After I left, I was the head of the association that ran, and we represented all refiners and all the petrochemical manufacturers. I wrote an op-ed for The Hill. I called it "For Less Than 30 Pieces of Silver." And that's how I felt. What my own industry, some of my own industry, and some conservative Republicans did too. They traded the principles, and you can't do that. And I'm still angry about it to this day. But again, we're going to promote fossil fuels. We're going to continue. Now, what's our strategy, though? What's our strategy? A positive message. Now, I've worked, I'm a recovering chemist. I've worked with a bunch of engineers all my life, and they say they bring stuff to me. You know, talk about barrels, BTUs, you know, charts, data, graphs, slide sheets, regression analysis. Here, Charlie, take us up to The Hill. Don't read this. Don't be with me. Let me give you an example of why that doesn't work. This is about 12, 13 years ago. This is not an example on energy, but I think it's informative. Our good friend, Dick Armey, back then, baseball, Dick Armey, on split screen, some early morning talk show, I'm sitting there eating my Cheerios. He's talking about the school lunch program. He starts off, and he starts talking about 90 to 120% of the poverty level versus the per capita cost per student versus this versus that versus how much chalk they bought last year. I don't know. Man, eyes closed over. I mean, he was talking, right? The statistics were right. The other guy, I don't know who it was, some Democrat was there. All he did, he holds up a bottle of ketchup. He points to it, and he says, they want to classify this as a vegetable. Game, set, match, folks. It was over. This is how we have to fight. We have to fight we have to make it personal. We have to make it emotional. We have to bring it home to people. So this is what we're going to do. We're partnering with other organizations too, especially non-traditional allies like the minority community. Who in the heck gets hit hardest and fastest when there's an energy shortage and prices go up? their congressmen, their senators keep voting for this stuff. Can't happen. We've got to change that. So, what can you do? I encourage you to visit our website, www.supporter.com. I encourage you to work with us. I encourage you to take action, because you're action people. You wouldn't be here if you're not action people. So, I appreciate it, and thank you very much. And